Okay, hello. My name is Andy Hemphill, and I'll be doing a short little video here on a couple of things in Creative Studio. Uh, the main focus I thought I'd have today is on a little bit of pattern management. Um, I can see that's sometimes an issue, especially with the cloud and not wanting to, oops, not wanting to sync properly and manage the patterns you have, especially as they can have quite a few. Um, so we'll just start here with a quick little sync. So as you noticed that when I logged in, it deleted any patterns I had. Um, this is a new install, so I have to do the sync first to get started here. Um, if you import patterns when you're not logged in to your account, when you log in, they won't be there. Um, that's one of the that's basically because when you're not logged in, you're an account of no user, and when you're logged in, you're in yourself. So the users don't share patterns. Uh, first thing that I'd like to go over is what happens if you delete a pattern. Um, I know a lot of people sometimes have duplicates of patterns, and they want to get rid of them. For example, if I took my spiral pattern and saved a copy of it, and then you have two. And if I were to sync, let's make sure I'm logged into right here. And if I come to my cloud, my patterns, well, we'll have to wait for it to sync here for a moment. Also, good morning, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well with the virus going around and staying safe here, enjoying your quilting. Of course, when I'm syncing on stream, it's going to take longer than usual. It's the watch pot doesn't like to boil when watched. As you can see, I have the add only no overwrite checked. That means it looks both ways at both the cloud and the um, Creative Studio patterns, and basically trades copies until both sides match. Uh, if I would have chosen just to update the pattern cloud, it would have looked at the pattern cloud and seen what it was missing compared to on Creative Studio, and only traded it copies of that towards the cloud, but not have traded any copies from the cloud to the Creative Studio pattern list, and vice versa, of course, with Update Creative Studio. There's the chat. Good morning, everyone. Hopefully you can all hear me well. I believe I turned my microphone on. There we go. All completed. Should get a smiley face here. Cool. So I will sort by news. Reload here. So here's my brand new pattern that I just saved, and it's a copy. And it's my 73 point spirogram 2. I made this. It's fancy, yes. Anyway, uh, but now what happens if I get rid of it here? Delete pattern. But then if I sync, it's going to come right back because I only deleted it from CreativeStudio. Oops. Uh, that's one of the things that's. Thank you, Deb. I'm glad you could hear me. Um, oh, there's the chat. Okay. Yeah. So that's one of the things that's great about CreativeStudio is as long as you haven't deleted it from every location, you can sync it and bring it back. So, for example, if you have a SAM computer and your Creative Studio Stitcher and your cloud account, even if both the SAM computer and your Stitcher, you know, explode horribly, your computers don't explode. They shouldn't explode. Don't let them do that. But you won't lose the patterns because it's still in the cloud. If you delete them by accident, say on the cloud, as you can see, I deleted it from here from CreativeStudio. I synced and they're back. Um, now, what if you actually want to get rid of this? The best way to do that is we'll delete here, and you'll come to CreativeStudio and display settings. So in the top right-hand corner, um, you have a few more options inside the pattern cloud, and you can just say show delete buttons. A little bit dangerous to be careful with this, but as I said, as long as you're only working in one, you can always sync and get them all back. So I will click on this, and get the confirm pop-up, delete this pattern. I'll say yes, or rather okay, and now it's gone. Now if I sync, you can see that the pattern totals match and that it won't be coming back. Um, and once you do that, there's no way of bringing it back if you don't have the file backup. You know, it's gone forever. Um, so that's one thing to keep in mind. Um, I get that asked a bit because of what if you have a lot of patterns that you're deleting? You know, say you have 50,000 patterns and you don't really want to delete 50,000 patterns twice. Um, what I'd recommend in that case is I would come to Creative Studio and let's do the by 1,000 page. We will do the show delete buttons, and I'm going to delete. Let's do A to Z. I don't really like all the numbers. Let's get rid of all these numbers here at the start. So that'd be quite a few clicks. You know, you have to go to Creative Studio, delete the same ones, and it honestly, you know, your time's valuable, so you want to make it faster. So now, fair warning, this is a riskier way of doing it than before. Um, so what I would do is I would come to Service, Tech Support, Database Administration, and what I would do is you see this large red button here that says Restore Database to Factory Default. I'm going to click that. This will completely delete every single pattern that you have inside Creative Studio. Not on the cloud, just on the computer that this Creative Studio is installed on. So this won't affect any other computers or the cloud. And you'll have to log in again. Hi, Holly. Glad to help, Debbie. Hi, Vicky. And I log in. It's going to ask me to sync again. And you'll see here, the pattern total's gone down. So I will only get the 1,303 patterns. All the ones I delete off the cloud account are gone. Now I deleted the starter patterns so I could still get them back, but if you're trying to delete lots and lots of patterns, this is probably the fastest way of doing that because you can delete them in the cloud and then reset the database on your your standalone machine and your Stitcher machine, and then sync, and you won't have all the ones you deleted. Um, be careful with this because you are deleting the patterns and getting rid of them. Um, Hello, Theresa. Thanks everyone for coming to the stream. Hopefully my internet's not upset at me for streaming and syncing, but make sure it goes through. So I was gonna focus a little bit on tags here, if that's good with everyone here. Oh, Scotland. Is it quite late in the day for you over there? Hello. And as you can probably tell, if you start getting 5, 10, 50,000 patterns, you might want to get a cup of tea while you sync. It could take a little bit. I'm gonna go back to the. So I'm just gonna move this off to my screen. I have multiple screens, so I can just hide it over there. So let's flip up my spiral. I like my spiral pattern. So tags are very useful for finding things. Um, my tags are not always great, but I can find it very quickly by just typing in yeah. If I want to edit the tags inside CreativeStudio, there's quite a few options. So this is I designed as just a block, so I can search for by a block, E to E, um, place two pins, border. I hope this isn't a border, but might be able to use it as that. Um, and it's searchable by the type, tags, and also collections. Um, so probably call this a spiral, add the tag. And I could even add as a collection to, let's see. So collections are quick ways of grouping patterns. It's similar to tags, but it's able to generate a few lists. So save changes. Once you save changes on Pattern Cloud, it doesn't automatically go to CreativeStudio because, well, they're not automatically linked. You have to sync again afterwards. And I can actually show you here real quick that as you see, view tags, there are only my one tag there. and it hasn't synced yet. So I can click here and sync just this one pattern. Oops, if I did that right. Sync, restore from cloud. And now, oops, view tags. Now I've synced it to the cloud. So I just synced one by right-clicking on it. And now I have the spiral tag. I made this collection. And you can see, let me see here if I can, oops. So you can, if you click on this, you can search names, designers, collections. So you can just see how you search things a lot easier. So if I search for spiral now, it doesn't find anything, but I made this. There's my spiral pattern. And if I had a bunch of patterns that I made, I could search in the collection, and they could all have different tags. Um, I'm not going to tag them as I made this because that's not really a tag. I, this is more personalization. So, but the collection lets me do that. Um, or I could search by spiral and do that in search tags, and there's my spiral. But if I search by name, then I get a lot more because it has. So if you look at this name, it's square spiral 1. So it doesn't just search from the start, it also searches in the middle for any instances of the word. That is kind of important to for naming. Um, for example, say I want to search for 73 point. 73 point. If I don't put the space in, it won't ever find it. So even though it's very similar, I see this quite often for trying to find patterns, um, or even 73 underscore point. They can look very similar to the names, and you won't be able to find them um, if you don't type in the search right. Anyway, I don't have a lot else here, but I can also, if underneath advanced search, there's a few more options, and I can expand this out so my screen is a little bit bigger and easier to see. And just choose block. And so as you saw when I synced, I chose sync cloud tags. And what that means is if there's tags that other people have added and that is generally agreed upon, it shares those. So you don't have to tag everything yourself manually because that could take a while if you have a lot of patterns. It's kind of sharing the load on tagging. Um, and I almost always recommend doing the cloud tags. Even if you don't always agree with them, it's still pretty helpful for organizing with them. And I'm not sure I have anything else here interesting to say. So I'll wait a few minutes and see if anyone wants to put anything in the comments for questions, and then I'm let you go and have the rest of your enjoyable Sunday morning or afternoon as it may be. Tracy, I don't know. Um, I'm not sure what the development is for that. I'm mostly the fix things when they're broken guy. So, Cheryl, it is 7 inches or about 8 inches by 8 inches. I don't know. I've never actually stitched it out. I just made it myself to test a circular ray in merging. Um, it probably would have a bit of overlap on that inner ring, that I would guess. Maybe not though. Um, yeah, I'll mention it to our developer, and make sure that they know that they'd be appreciated, Tracy, for the syncing uh, patterns, or sorry, projects to the cloud. I'm sure if, you make it on your standalone machine, you will bring it over to your Stitcher, I'm guessing, right? Would that be the workflow? Pattern Club. Uh, I'm sorry, Teresa. I don't know what you mean by Pattern Club. But for downloading to the cloud or thumb drive, I usually just recommend syncing to the cloud, though. That's fast and easy, and I don't have to worry about losing USB sticks. Not that I've ever lost USB sticks or put them to the wash or found them years later. The cloud's nice because you can't really lose it. Oh, I'm sorry for the project. Yes, yeah, for the right now for the project, the best way is put it on a USB stick and bring it over. Um, yeah, as I said, I'll make sure I've mentioned that to our developer, Matt, and we always like suggestions for how to make Creative Studio better. So, oh, okay. Um, do they send you like a download link then, Teresa? Yeah, yes, they do, Tracy. Thumb dives, they can have short lives sometimes. Lynette. So I'm not sure how you're adding tags before you import them into Creative Studio. Um, but if you're on you're on your standalone machine and you import them into the standalone machine, correct? Heart page, import patterns or import pattern folder, um, and then you bring them in. Um, and you can add tags when you bring them in too. Um, and then once you sync, it just automatically puts it on the cloud with all the tags that you've done on your standalone machine. So wherever you do the tags, after if you sync after you put the tags on it, then it moves the tags and the patterns to the cloud, and then you can copy them from when you sync, they'll come down from the cloud to whatever machine you're on then. Yeah, that's a great way to do it, Lena. Because if you're bringing a lot of patterns at once and they share tags, designer tags, or you open the month when you got them. For example, like say you wanted to bring them in as uh, what month is it? April, as the April club. You could tag them all as April club, so you'd find them easier like that. I might actually put April club as collection, just as a thought though, to kind of differentiate it from tags. Um, anyway, that's more, you know, half a dozen of one, six of the other. But okay, well, I like to use the middle option personally. The big difference, I suppose, the only time you wouldn't want to do um, the middle option is um, say you've made changes on both Creative Studio and the Pattern Cloud, but you didn't want to bring the changes on the cloud down to this computer. Um, I'm not really sure. Let's see, what can I think for that? I'm not really sure why you wouldn't want to use the middle option, honestly. I can't think of too many use cases there. So I would almost always use add only no overwrite, um, unless something you have some really niche needs there. Um, I guess if you've imported some patterns and you want to finish bringing down your patterns from the cloud without updating the cloud, you could update just Creative Studio, but I'm not sure that's too useful in my opinion. Um, there's probably a few cases, but I'm not sure I've seen them. Yeah, Gloria. Yeah, I'm tech support at Statler. Uh, try and fix things when they're broken. Um, yeah. So laptop specs are you want to have a Windows PC. Um, actually, the best thing here is let me just post the specs of one moment here. I will post the specs of our current computer, and that's about what you want to try and match. Um, XE3 specs. So I'm going to type this into the chat here. So an iPhone hard drive. So that's the specs for our current computer. Um, an i3 would still be fine. Um, the hard drive doesn't need to be that big. I do recommend 8 GB of RAM. It'll just, you know, go for a smoother experience. Um, 4 GB will do though. Cost on laptops varies wildly, and unfortunately, I'm not that much of a laptop guy. I'm much more of a desktop person. Um, I like my multi-monitor setup. So um, I have three of them, and it makes it much nicer to work on. And by the way, if you're working on the tagging and stuff, I always having a second screen makes things go much faster. Um, but yeah, and I think I will probably leave it there at that. Thanks for bearing with me here for half an hour and listening to me ramble on. Um, hopefully, we won't need to talk in the future because I'm tech support and when we don't have to talk, that thing means things are going great. But if you call in, we'll be here to help you. Um, stay safe, everyone, and take care.